Good evening, everyone. It is February 23rd, 2023, and I'd like to call the meeting of the South Brunswick Township Board of Education to order. Oh, sorry. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Forgot that's my part. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the board secretary has caused notice of this meeting, including date, time, and location, to be posted in the South Brunswick Public Library and the board office, filed with the township clerk, and communicated to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger. Roll call, Mr. Pulowski.
Mrs. Julie Ferrara.
Present.
Mrs. Laura Hernandez.
Here.
Mrs. Deepa Karthik.
Here.
Miss Alison Khan.
Here.
Alicia Khan. I will get that right. Apologize. Mr. Raja Krishna.
Yeah.
Mr. Mike Mitchell.
Present.
Mr. Barry Nathanson.
Here.
Dr. Smith Raj.
Here.
Mrs. Lisa Rogers.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, may I have a motion and a second to approve tonight's meeting agenda? Mr. Mitchell? Ms. Hernandez, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, next order of business is approval of the minutes of January 5, 2023 and January 19, 2023. Board Secretary Mr. Pawlowski's draft of the minutes from both meetings were sent to the board on Tuesday, February 21st. Are there any corrections to the minutes as distributed? Board members? No? Very good. Then minutes, since there's no objection or discussion, the minutes stand as written. Next order of business would be the student rep, Ms. Ria Krishna, but unfortunately she notified me that she's not feeling well, so she will not be in attendance tonight. We hope she feels better. Okay. And the next order of business is the report of our superintendent, Mr. Fetter.
All right. Well, first of all, you guys know that you're the first, I think it's the first class, Mr. Varela, back in person for this event. So you're the winners. I don't know what you get, but we're glad to have you back in person. So thank you for coming out tonight. Parents, kids, staff, awesome. Tonight on your tonight on your agenda, you have the 23-24 calendar. I want to point out one thing we are adding to the calendar that is new for us for the future, in anticipation of the New York Jets being in the Super Bowl for the next 10 straight years.
Giants.
So it was a neat thing that happened in some Philadelphia area districts, that they did a delayed opening on the Monday following the Super Bowl. Well, each year we do what's called a give back time, where we have an early release day because our staff comes back and does night conferences. So I've added to the calendar this year, again in anticipation of a good outcome, that the Monday after the Super Bowl will be a delayed opening. So we're calling that now and just putting that on the calendar. That is the calendar if you approve tonight. And if it goes well and the Jets do well, then we will do this the next year.
As a Giant fan, I thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Barry.
Eagles, you've had your chance, you blew it, no more. So now we move to the New York teams and we try this again. But congratulations to Eagles fans. I know you had a great year. Sorry, the Jets, well.
Or the Jets.
I'll stop now. So anyway, the rest of the calendar has some other basic features. It ends nice. It's a nice ending date this year, which is nice. We are currently working to build the next year's calendar, which would be the 24-25 calendar. I can tell you it's not looking so pretty as this calendar. The way the holidays fall and the way everything falls, right now we're looking at a June 26, which is not desirable. Next year, I believe, is June 20. Mr. Varela has already booked the Sun Center, the Cure Center for graduation for next year. Reminder board, this year's, when you get in your cars for graduation, you're not going to Trenton. You're going to New Brunswick, to Rutgers, That's right. We'll give you plenty of notice, but I bet one of you forgets and goes the wrong direction. We'll see. All right, other news. If you read my letter we sent out, or if you watched the news, you know that we were on the news. In fact, we were on the news quite a bit yesterday. We were a very popular district yesterday. We were visited by Governor Murphy, who came to celebrate preschool expansion and our new preschool programs, as well as announce that the state is going to be giving $120 million towards facilities. We don't quite know what that means exactly yet, or the parameters, where we would be able to apply for monies associated with preschool expansion facilities. Again, Dave and I immediately hopped right on that. We are starting to consider what that might look like, what options we might have, depending on how much money we may get. And we'll be presenting more to that to the board and community once we know more. But as of right now, all we know is the announcement was yesterday. It was made at Dean's School Library. And I am going to give Rachel Klein a shout out. For those of you that might know Rachel, she was the teacher that hosted Governor Murphy in her classroom for a 10-minute lesson, and then also gave a speech to the entire state about the value of preschool. So she did a fantastic job, and all the people involved did a fantastic job. Many, many people. You're amazed how many people get involved for a governor's visit. It's crazy. But it was a very successful visit, really no hiccups, thanks to all the great people that did work. But the true star of the day was Rachel, and she blew it away. So congratulations to her, to the other teachers in that school, the principal, everyone else involved. The grounds crew was amazing. In fact, they were there, I think, for 3 straight days. And it was beautiful. The building was gorgeous. So they helped with the parking. Everybody just chipped in, and it was fantastic. So, on the same time, if you saw ABC News did a video, a story on the Hart family, and interesting that the name is the Hart family, because the father had a heart attack, and his 7th grade son saved him with knowing just enough of CPR to save until the paramedics got there. Great heartwarming story. If you have not seen it, go to ABC News. You can see the story. I'm not sure if we put it on the website yet, but if not, I know Murph is watching. Murph, get it on the website so that you'll be able to go there. You put it under my corner so they can see that along with the governor's visit. If you want to see either of those, we'll have them on the website, but right now the governor's visit, the press conference is on the website. You can just go to the front page and look under my corner, and you'll see it there if you want to watch that. It's about 35 minutes.
He's from Crossroads South?
The kids, the boys from Crossroads South, the family, and police, paramedics, amazing job saving this father, and we're proud. So we might be talking to the board about what we might do to honor that family as well in a future meeting, so we'll go on that. All right, I would be remiss if I did not remind our community, it is kindergarten registration is going to open on March 1st. And as I say every year, the more information we have, the better we can staff. So as of right now, we have kept our staffing for kindergarten flat, meaning if a school has 3 kindergartens, we're keeping 3 in the budget at this moment in time, but we need to watch. And so we watch, and we watch continuously between now and around final decision will be around August, first week of August, if there's not enough enrollment or too much enrollment somewhere where we have to make a change. So please, if you know anybody who has a kindergartner next year, it must be 5 by October 31st, please have them register starting March 1st, and that would be very helpful for us as we plan. Another announcement on March 14th at 7 o'clock, Dr. Greco, our K-5 math and science supervisor, will be doing a team math with her team math folks, a virtual math themed family read aloud. So hope you'll join. You can still register for that as well. And other than that, we just keep plugging through, but some really great things happening. And at our last meeting, you saw our Computer Science Academy kids come, and oh wow, amazing. So our kids do amazing things at all levels, and we're proud of our community and our staff and students and families. And I'll turn it back over to you.
That's awesome information. Does anybody on the board have any questions for Mr. Fetter or comments? None? I just want to congratulate Mr. Fetter and the team, the administration team, the custodial team, myself, Mr. Nathanson, and Dr. Raj happened to be there with the governor when we were in the audience. We weren't with him, but we were in the audience. And that school, you could have eaten off the off of the stairs. It was spick and span, but the entire staff did an awesome job. So congratulations, Mr. Fetter and the team. Awesome job. Okay, our next order of business, I would like now to call Mr. Varela, the principal of the high school, to the podium for our 2023 National Merit Finalist Student Scholar Presentation. These students were originally being recognized as semifinalists, but have since been moved up to finalists. Finalist status means they are now eligible for additional recognitions as well as potential scholarships. We congratulate them and commend them on this accomplishment, along with each of their honorees as well as their parents. Mr. Varela.
Thank you, Mrs. Rogers. Good evening, members of the Board of Education, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we're fortunate to honor a distinguished group of students and teachers. These students are recognized for their performance on the Scholastic Aptitude Test, or PSAT, which is also the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. Being recognized by the National Merit Organization is truly one of the most prestigious honors a high school student can achieve. National Merit semifinalists represent the top 16,000 of the 1.6 million students who took the PSAT at the same time. I'm pleased to say that South Brunswick High School has 6 semifinalists, and all semifinalists have moved on to become finalists. We also have the distinction of honoring our commended students at next month's board meeting. Keeping with a treasured South Brunswick tradition, we invited our students here tonight to identify and honor an outstanding educator who has made a significant impact on their academic life. Each student has inscribed a message for his or her honoree in a book specifically selected for the teacher. After I present each student to you, he or she will read the inscription and present the book to the teacher. Additionally, certificates of appreciation from President Lisa Rogers and the Board of Education will be provided to all honorees tonight. President Rogers, please join me at the podium to present congratulations on behalf of the board. The first row, please stand. Before we begin, I would like to thank my secretary, Ms. Ramona Baker, for coordinating this special honors event. She spends countless hours of organizing and communicating with our students. I would also like to thank Ms. Marian Murphy for her assistance with creating the board certificates. As we start our program, I thought I'd share some of the colleges and universities that our finalists tonight applied to. These are some of the colleges and universities they've applied to. And here are a few of the schools that they've been accepted to. So I would like to start by introducing our honorees as well as the teachers being recognized. Our first honoree is Sanchita Dighe. Come on. She would like to major in college in general psychology. During her high school years, she is most proud of receiving the opportunity to research forensic psychology and criminology this year as part of her independent study. One fun fact many people do not know about her is she loves bird watching and owns several bird feeders in her backyard, including a hummingbird feeder. Presenting A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki to Marissa Carlisi, a member of the high school social studies department since 2001.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for this opportunity to express gratitude to our teachers, especially a teacher as wonderful as Ms. Carlisi. So I'd like to begin by reading my inscription to her. For Ms. Carlisi, we are all time beings, impermanent, flowing through the crevices of time and space, colliding with other time beings. There's a special power we share by being time beings, the power of finding ourselves through the teachings of those we collide with. One such collision occurred in my freshman year of high school when I walked into your 3B HAG class, or Honors American Government class, on the first day of school. With unconditional kindness, you encouraged me to dip my toe into the ocean of the American justice system, even though the water may have not been to my liking. The power behind your words taught me a strong appreciation for the rich history of our country. 3 years later, I was back in the same room for race, class, gender, and LGBT history to Carlisify my senior year. Through this second collision, I found a channel to discuss nuanced topics throughout the history of race and gender, battling the grating voice of the male gaze and the everyday struggles we face as wandering humans in this unfamiliar world. Even during my most stressful days, I found myself laughing, enjoying the warmth of your positivity and the kindness of my peers. In this book, 16-year-old Now learns about herself through the stories of her grandmother. In this life, I've learned about myself through you and your unending efforts to help us all find the light within us. There's truly no teacher more inspiring or more supportive than you, and I cannot thank you enough. After all, as Now says it best herself, you're my kind of time being. Lots of love, Sanchita.
Congratulations, girls.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Great job. Wish I had a teacher like you.
I'll keep the microphone at this level. Our next honoree is Josh Joseph. In college, he would like to major in computer science and legal informatics. During his high school years, he's most proud of planning a game night fundraising with the robotics club that had over 500 students in attendance. This was to raise money for the club's first ever qualification to nationals. One fun fact many people do not know about him is he has watched every single televised presidential debate ever. Presenting The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom to Ali Robles, a member of the high school math department since 2015.
I want to begin by thanking the board, Mr. Varela, and President Rogers for putting together this event for all of us. So to begin, this book, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom, is a short story where the main character, Eddie, meets 5 different people who changed his life dramatically. The book details that you can no more separate one life from another than you can separate a breeze from the wind. And that's precisely how Ms. Robles has impacted my life. She has always been incredibly supportive to me, regardless of what I decided to do, whether it be exploring computer science, navigating friendships in high school, managing a 78% robotics team, or even finding a place to secretly watch the World Cup. Ms. Robles has always had my back. And so during the pandemic, virtual classes were hard on everyone. And it was difficult to see the light within the darkness on many different occasions. And even though at the time I was actually not her student, I hadn't even met her before, she welcomed me and my friends into her kind of Zoom room to talk about anything we wanted to, from traversing an array list in Java, talking about fast fashion or TikTok. This really helped me and a bunch of my friends retain a sense of normalcy that we desperately needed during the pandemic. And she really showed us, kind of as a sad sophomores, how important it was to be flexible and celebrate the small wins in life. Now, as Mr. Varela mentioned, this flexibility was instrumental during game night, which was in April of 2022. Our robotics team received the great news that 2 of our teams had actually qualified to nationals in Iowa for the first time ever in our, I think, club's 7-year history. So while it was great news, we realized that we had to fundraise, I think, a few $1,000s in the span of a few short weeks, which was, at the time, seemed a really daunting task. So as a club, we decided to host a game night, which was right before AP exams when we knew the entire student body was stressed, studying and everything like that. So we had a Super Smash Bros. Tournament, and it was a great time for everyone. But the planning behind that was a lot of work. We had to get the word out, we had to contact department supervisors, network with the custodians, and me and my friends, I think, spent an entire week leaving class, talking to a bunch of different teachers and students, getting them to come to the event. And it was a great success. I think Mr. Varela mentioned there was over 500 people in attendance that day. And although the story really focused on how we as a club did it, I don't think many people really focused on how Ms. Robles was in the back supporting us logistically and even morally when we felt like we weren't really doing well. So just to close out, just like Eddie, it may be a while before I realize how big an impact you've really had on my life. So I just want to take this opportunity to give you 2 words and a book. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great job.
All right, our next honoree is Amog Joshi. He would like to major in electrical and computer engineering. During his high school years, he's most proud of being selected as a member of the Science Olympiad Team Board. One fun fact many people do not know about him, he has been gardening every summer for over 7 years. Presenting The Lemon Tree by Sandy Tolan to Kimberly Greenberg, a member of the high school social studies department since 1996.
So not to sound like a parrot, but once again, I want to thank the members of the board, President Rogers, Mr. Varela, and everyone who's come in attendance to this event. So to Ms. Greenberg, this novel, A Lemon Tree, is essentially a representation of what I've learned and gained from your two classes that I've taken over the year, Global Studies last year and European History this year. The two main characters in this novel are on a search for compromise and self-reflection and self-improvement. And in Global Studies, I found that I had a similar experience. I came in with what I believed were set positions on different topics and conflicts, and through your class and the teaching that you gave us, I had the opportunity to expand, grow my mind, and learn new perspectives. I learned to look beyond the surface of different topics that shape our world today and see the true picture and different perspectives from angles, allowing me to open my mind and have a broader picture of everything. There's a famous quote from World War II that says, "The death of one man is a tragedy, but the death of millions is a statistic." In history classes, global studies classes, it's very easy for us to look upon major conflicts that strike our world and think, it doesn't affect us, it doesn't matter. But from your class, I learned to take control of the first part of that quote, the fact that we should focus on the human life in conflicts and focus on how we can better the world rather than reducing numbers into conflict. These words rung in my head throughout your classes, whether we were learning cultures or whether we were learning tragedies which have befallen our world. Your teaching style, which was a fusion of instruction through presentations but also in-class debates, helped open my eyes, as I've said multiple times now. I was able to learn about the nuances in conflicts, whether the good things or the bad things, and I feel like our class as a whole, despite some people not paying attention or any of the downsides which might have come from an 11th grade class, I feel like everyone, no matter how much they expressed it, was in some way touched and learned to improve themselves to focus on humanity. Also, something personal to me, you might remember that after class, I would often come to approach a new perspective on an issue, something I couldn't get during class time. And I feel like during a lot of those times, I was able to get something new, something I wasn't able to get during class, and something you can't get on the internet. Because the pandemic, as Josh mentioned before, trapped us inside a virtual world, and you missed that element of humanity. But through these discussions that I had with you, I was able to reinstill that element of humanity in the conflicts and the topics that I wanted to discuss. And I want to thank you for that, because it helped me improve my own self and my own perspective on different topics. I'm grateful for this guidance, whether it's in a classroom environment, but also for me as a person, and the entire approach I've developed. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great job.
Our next honoree is Neha Pedinti. Neha would like to major in computer science. During our high school years, she's most proud of being nominated for and accepted into the New Jersey Governor's School of Engineering and Technology. One fun fact many people do not know about her is she can read in 6 writing scripts, which are used for various Indo-European and Asian languages. Presenting How to Draw Stick Figures by Dalhouse Publications to Musut Chucker, a retired member of the high school science department who unfortunately could not be here tonight, but she would like to read his inscription.
Thank you, Mr. Varela. So as you mentioned, Dr. Chucker is unfortunately not able to make it tonight, but I still would like to read out the inscription. Thank you all for being here tonight. Dr. Chucker, you were the first teacher I had who asked us to actually read the textbook from beginning to end. After a couple of years of this, I internalized the idea that there's nothing in these books that I can't learn, even if I have to look in a different place for answers or teach myself some math first. Your classes were the most difficult I've ever taken because they were never about fulfilling a teacher's expectations. In other classes, even if I didn't understand something, I could feel reasonably satisfied if I knew it was on the test. But there was little external validation in your classes, so I couldn't stop learning even if I knew that I still had questions. And I liked your room, with the caricatures tacked up on the wall and the pictures of you that we drew on the board right next to a lengthy derivation of Stokes' theorem. During virtual school, you encouraged us to take walks during your block when the weather was nice, and when we were back in person, I appreciated that you took us outside to work on the grassy hill in front of the school, as summer was coming to an end. You showed us how to meditate, or at least genuinely tried to show us, regardless of how receptive we were. You left chessboards out, free for anyone to use, and you know it was never any good, but it's okay. It was fun. You gave me book recommendations, physics, historical fiction, and Proust, which I haven't been bored enough to read yet. You asked us what we thought it was like to be a rock or an electron. I was compelled to consider ideas I hadn't thought about before. And that's kind of the point of a class, to open your mind to ideas that we haven't really considered. I hope you enjoy this book about drawing stick figures. You always bragged about your diagrams of circles and spheres, and we always scribbled these little people onto your board, so maybe you can take a shot at it. I wish you many good times to come on your future adventures. Sincerely, Neha.
Our next honoree is Nikhil Rangaswamy. Nikhil would like to major in physics. During his high school years, he's most proud of getting to take interesting math and physics classes and learn a lot about interesting subjects. One fun fact many people do not know about him is, Mr. Fetter, you may not like this, he does not like chocolate or sweet foods. Presenting Ready Player One by Ernest Klein to Stephen Dentler, a member of the high school mathematics department since 1997.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to thank a teacher. This book, for those of you who don't know, is about a character named Wade Watts. He's stuck in a dystopian future with really no human interaction at all, and I thought this would be appropriate, really because I asked Mr. Dentler what type of book he'd like, and he said dystopian and science, so this sort of fits the bill. Dear Mr. Dentler, I wanted to thank you for making last year a great experience. Coming back in person from 2 years of homeschooling as an introvert was exhausting in the beginning, but your class was always something I could look forward to. Every day was new, engaging, and fun. And unlike most of my classes, where I mainly focus on the academics, my favorite memories of your class aren't even about statistics. Instead, I remember your college advice at a time when I not only had no clue about the admissions process, but wasn't even sure who to approach with my questions. Your tangents into other topics that I found interesting and allowed me to delve deep into things that I never would have otherwise, the jokes that made all of us laugh, and your very inspiring life story. Your class was truly unique and the highlight of my high school experience. Thank you.
Steve, congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Congratulations, you got one up your legs.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Xinyi Zhang. In college, she would like to major in neuroscience. During her high school years, she's most proud of receiving a perfect score on the AP 2D design exam. One fun fact many people do not know about her is she trained herself to be ambidextrous. Presenting The Hidden Magic by Walt Disney World by Susan Venice to Timothy Burnett, a member of the high school science department since 2001.
Congratulations. Good luck to you.
Once again, I would like to thank everyone for coming tonight and for putting on this event for all of us. Dear Mr. Burnett, from advanced to organic chemistry, you've taught our classes in ways that have allowed me to understand the broader impacts of science and helped me gain a deep enjoyment of learning chemistry in general. Through your lectures, questions, and jokes that most of us don't really understand sometimes, I can always count on you to make class fun and engaging, as well as a great opportunity to learn. By placing emphasis on the theory behind the principles being taught, you have made me more confident in my learning, which has helped me in many areas outside of our chemistry class. Over the 3 courses I've taken with you as my teacher, there's one thing that has stayed constant, aside from your wonderful teaching, your love for Disney World. So I hope that you can enjoy this book on days where you can't be there. I truly want to thank you so much for being a teacher that always makes yourself available to help out your students. Thank you for having high expectations for me and believing in my abilities. And thank you for the immense influence you've had on my love for chemistry, which has helped shape my time in high school and will ultimately shape my future career. Thank you.
Congratulations. Great job.
Thank you very much.
Oh, don't forget your.
Congratulations.
You have to Google the jokes.
I think we learned a lot about joking tonight. So I want to thank each of our National Merit finalists for selecting just the right books for their teachers and for documenting and sharing the impact they had on your academic careers. I also want to thank our teachers for making a difference in the lives of our students. Additionally, I would like to honor our students' parents tonight for their hard work and support. And I would like to ask them to stand as I share a slide recognizing all of them. So parents, please stand and be recognized. All right. Great job, parents. So as I conclude my comments and turn the microphone back over to Mrs. Rogers, please join me in one more round of applause for our amazing student scholars and our great teacher honorees.
Thank you, Mr. Varela, and congratulations once again to all the honorees. If there's any indication of the way you spoke tonight of what you're going to achieve, the world is your big oyster. Go for it. Congratulations to each and every one of you. And to the teachers, wonderful job. South Brunswick is South Brunswick because of the teachers we have. Thank you. And to the parents, good luck. Thank you again. And also, if you want to stay for tonight, you're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the board meeting. But if you would like to leave, we'll take a 2-minute break and you could just exit out and that'll be fine. Congratulations again. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Next order of business is to hear the reports of the committees and the board liaisons. Tonight, I'm going to have the committees go, with the exception of the policy committee, will go last after liaisons so that we could just transition right into the first reading of the policies that's on the agenda. So will the education committee report?
We just met today. We just met today at 6 p.m. here at Crossroads. That's why you probably saw us last minute scrambling to our seats. So I'll have the minutes and I'll have the report ready by our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for education committee? Nope. Moving on, will business operations report. Mr. Nathanson.
Thank you, Madam President. We met on Tuesday, and we had interesting discussions. First, we discussed courtesy busing. We had our fine transportation coordinator there. Jill was there to provide a review and an update to possible savings and hazardous routes in South Brunswick. Mr. Federer led a discussion on courtesy busing in South Brunswick and gave examples of developments in town where courtesy busing exists most. Next discussion was Mr. Pulowski introduced a system that we're going to start with. It's door access and security upgrade project that the district will move forward with. Current door access are past their expected life and no longer serviceable. So we're upgrading all the door access and security throughout the district. Mr. Redfield was there, our facilities person, and he discussed or he reviewed the summer roofing projects that are part of the long-term maintenance plan. The next, we have to skip some buildings because they will be doing projects that were supposed to be done last summer. So we're going to be doing new roofs on Greenbrook and Cambridge. They're both out of warranty, and there's some leaks and need a replacement. We also discussed with Mr. Pulowski, we discussed rates, increase for facility rentals. For most of the board, we haven't done that in a while. And for pay to participate, means to bring both revenues in line with current environment. And for the board, we have never increased since we implemented pay to participate in 2010. Pay to participate, yeah. And the facility rates have not been increased in 6 years. So it's been a while. We're taking a look at that. That was also part of the community budget look-see, and they brought it up as possible ways to increase some of our revenues. So we'll be looking at that within the coming months. So you'll be hearing more from me on it.
Great. Any questions, comments to Mr. Nathanson? No? Okay, we'll move on to the Finance Committee report. Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam President. We met on February 7th, and in attendance were Mr. Nathanson, Board Member Dr. Raj, Board President Rogers, Mr. Pulowski, SBA, and Mr. Fetter, Superintendent of Schools. One of the topics discussed, we went over the current environment regarding tax levies, healthcare increases, ratables in the township, and their impact on the district's financial health and stability. We also reviewed school district financial structures and funding formulas in the state of New Jersey. In addition, we reviewed the S2 schedule of cuts and the potential impact these would have on our district if they were to come to fruition. Also, we talked about Chapter 44 in the state looking to reduce districts' ability to raise taxes due to savings in health care. I believe at the next meeting we'll be discussing the Community Budget Committee and reviewing the future of this group within the district and their suggestions. That's my report. I'm sorry.
Thank you. No, it's okay. Any questions for Mr. Mitchell on Finance Committee? Very good. The Negotiations Committee report, we have nothing to report right now. We haven't had any meeting, so hopefully within the next couple weeks we will have some scheduled with the remaining unions. I'm going to open the floor to any liaison reports. Was there anyone here that would like to report? Ms. Hernandez?
Yeah, I just want to report on the South Brunswick Commission on Women. They will be hosting their 25th annual Women's Leadership and Career Pathways Conference on March 18th at the South Brunswick Senior Center from 8 o'clock to 1:30 in the afternoon. That's open for free to all 8th grade through 12th grade girls in our district. Registration is already underway. The cost is free. It's free admission and breakfast and lunch. And you can go on their website, which is just sbcommissiononwomen.org, to register.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Hernandez? Any other liaison reports? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to Policy Committee report. Along with, once the update is completed, we will move on to the first reading of the policies. Ms. Karthik, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mrs. Rogers. The Policy Committee met on February 13th. We had a first read of about 20 policies. I will be reading out the policy number as well as what the policy relates to. I request the board members to review these policies. We'll have a second read at the second meeting of the policy committee, post which then we have an opportunity to discuss them. So in summary, I'm going to read out the policy numbers and you can follow through. You would be having them on the agenda as well. It's P0143.2, High School Student Representative to the Board of Education. P0163, Quorum Revised. P151, Board of Education Website Accessibility. P2415, Every Student Succeeds Act. P2432, School-Sponsored Publications. P3270, Professional Responsibilities. P5513, Care of School Property. P5517, School District Issued Student Identification Cards. P5722, Student Journalism. P1648.11, The Road Forward for COVID-19 Health and Safety. P1648.13, School Employee Vaccination Requirements. Both of these policies are abolished. P0152, Board Officers Revised. P0161, Call, Adjournment and Cancellation. It's a revision. P0162, Notice of Board Meetings, which is a revision. P2423, Bilingual and ESL Education, revised. P2425, Emergency Virtual or Remote Instruction Program, revised. P5200, Attendance, revision. P5512, Harassment, Intimidation or Bullying, so there's a revision of this policy. P8140, Student Enrollments, revision. P8330, Student Records, revised. So the next policy committee meeting, we will be having a second read. For the first meeting, in attendance was Mr. Mitchell, Alicia Khan, President Rogers, and myself, supported by Mr. Pawlowski, Mr. Feder, and Ms. Malowite. So we will be having the second read. I request all the board members to also have a look at these policies so that at the next following board meeting, we can discuss them.
Thank you. Any questions for the policy committee? Just to reemphasize to the new board members, there will be a second read. So if you can take some time to go through the policies on Strauss-Esme, if you haven't done so already, you can make any notes and then send any questions directly to Mr. Pawlowski. Please copy Ms. Karthik, but he will be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Just to reiterate for everybody, the next board meeting is the second read and adoption.
Correct.
So you asking questions during that board meeting is not the appropriate time to do that. I need that about a week before the board meeting. So if you have questions about the policies, get me a week in advance. And I can get to the people who we need to talk to make sure we do any adjustments or revisions. Thank you.
And also just note, there are mandated policies that come directly from the state for the new board members. There is no choice. We have to accept those. There are some revisions. You could identify, you could see what the revisions are. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Any other questions on policy? No? Great. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Next is public comments on agenda items only. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. Complete copies of the rules that govern this portion of the meeting are available to the public at the back of the room, or you can obtain an advance copy by contacting the board office during regular business hours. We reserve the right to limit each speaker to no more than 3 minutes. Mr. Pawlowski will indicate when you have 15 seconds remaining. It is our plan to listen to each member of the public. We will note all questions and comments made. Once all questions and comments from all members of the public are made, the Board of Education will respond, if necessary, to questions or comments in the most timely and efficient manner available. Please consider not repeating questions or comments made by other members of the public. When recognized, please approach the podium and state your name, place of residence, and/or your group affiliation. Again, the first public comment is for agenda items only. There will be a second opportunity for the public to comment on any matter. Mr. Pawlowski, do we have any members of the public who pre-registered?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Are there any audience members who wish to make a public comment? No? Seeing none? As there are no comments, we will close this portion of the public comments. Our next order of business is old business, and seeing none, we shall move on to the next order of business, which is new business. Seeing none, we will move on. Moving on to the consent agenda, the review by Mr. Pawlowski. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have all of, as per your confidential update, we have items 1.1 through 1.4, which are all budget related. Note the budget transfer for the stabilization aid. We're moving that into the general fund. Also, we have an interlocal services agreement for our shared services with the SRO program, the Township Police Department. We have some cancellation of some outstanding checks. We have a purchase over the bid limit for some window glazing that's going to happen at the high school, window tinting at the first floor. We sold some buses, did really well. We sold our buses that were about 5 years old for just about the price we purchased them for 5 years ago. That give you an idea of what the market looks like. We have a parental transportation contract, an extension of some professional services for our special education department, student field trips, harassment, intimidation, and bullying report. We also have our travel-related expenses, our school calendar, a statement of assurance with regards to paraprofessional staff, and we have a resolution that puts us on the list for a 2% cap with regards to school funding. And that would be your agenda walkthrough.
Any questions for Mr. Pawlowski? Yes, Mr. Nathanson.
Yeah, just one, the new school calendar, will that be on the website?
Yes, once it's finalized, we'll post it.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for Mr. Pawlowski?
Yes, Mr. Pawlowski, would you offer clarification on item 1.15? Just for the sake of those who are watching. 1.15. Approved statement of assurance.
The statement of assurance for paraprofessionals. Every year we do a statement of assurance that puts out that we will employ them and have them be on staff employed through the district and adhere to their contractual agreement with us.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Mrs. Ferreira?
Mr. Pawlowski, I just wondered on line 1.10, the Beata Home Healthcare Nursing Services, do we have a number of students that we serve with the Beata Home Healthcare?
Yeah. That our Beata Home Healthcare Services, those are nursing services that we have in district, from what I understand. That's a professional service where we're bringing those nurses into the district to provide services here for students.
For our special students only?
Yes. Or no? Let me.
No, it's not necessarily. It could be, but we hire them for when we need subs, if we have field trips that we know about that we need an extra nurse on site, or we actually hire some nurses for extended periods of time when we have openings that we cannot fill through the regular channels.
Okay, so Beata is not just home health care then? We don't.
No.
This isn't specifically for students that are in need of
Not
special ed
specifically
student.
for.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Seeing none, may I have a motion and a second for the consent agenda of February 23rd, 2023?
So moved, Madam President.
Mr. Nathanson? Dr. Raj? Who was that? I'll get it next time. Roll call, please.
Ms. Julie Ferrara?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Laura Hernandez?
Yes.
Ms. Deepa Karthik? Yes. Ms. Alicia Khan?
Yes.
Mr. Raja Krishna?
Yes.
Mr. Mike Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Barry Nathanson?
Yes.
Dr. Smith Daraj?
Yes.
Mrs. Lisa Rogers?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, this is the second opportunity for a public comment on any matter. Reminded that the board recognizes the value of educational issues, comments of educational issues, and that you are limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name, place of residence, and your group affiliation at the podium. Mr. Pulowski, do we have any members who have pre-registered?
No, we do not.
Thank you. Are there any audience members who wish to comment? Nothing? Okay. Seeing none, we will close the second portion of the public comments. If there is no further business to be discussed, please note that the next scheduled Board of Education meeting is set for Thursday, March 9th, 2023. May I have a motion and a second to move into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Nathanson, move? Second? Ms. Karthik, second. Oh, Mike, Mr. Mitchell, sorry.
I second.
My apologies. It's hard to see.
Sorry.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Township of South Brunswick hereby moves into executive session in accordance with the Sunshine Law, Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, NJSA 10.4-6 through 10.4-21, to discuss the following: student matters, legal matters, and personnel matters. Be it further resolved, that the discussion conducted in executive session can be disclosed to the public at such time as the matters have been resolved. Formal action may be taken at any meeting. All in favor? Aye. Any against? Fine. Motion moves to executive session. May I have a motion? And oh, sorry. Sorry. Hearing no objection. We've already done that. Okay. Hearing no objection, we will now move. And thank you for attending, and have a pleasant evening, South Brunswick.